Okay, everybody, yoga hour is upon us, so let's get rolling. All right, so we're gonna start up on our feet, so please establish a nice stable upright shape. You probably are not going to be able to witness this for yourself, but possibly if your screen's on. You want to find basically in these Tadasanas on a profile, ear, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. That's basically your plumb line. So we want to learn to feel that out as much as we're able to, but also checking in once in a while with some objective external source, like a mirror or like yourself in a video. Can actually be very informative. Now, this is a little practice we worked on once before, and that is as we stand, just letting a little more weight settle into the heels. Now, the pads of the feet are going to have some weight, obviously. But that midline, that plumb line just described, lands us a little more in the heels than in the front of the feet. Feel that. Now to really awaken, enliven, strengthen, stabilize, and engage all the way from the bottom of the kinetic chain up to the top of the hips. We try this little practice in the feet, wherein, I know this always sounds weird when I cue it, the feet are working a little harder than they normally would be. There's two different concepts you can plug into. One is this idea of the feet, imagining you're in the early stages of trying to lift up your mat, like an eagle lifting something up with talons. Slash, or you can make your feet feel kind of like they're trying to turn slightly out, and with a good sticky mat they don't actually turn out. So maybe if you were on socks with a wood floor, you couldn't do that, you couldn't get any traction. But on the right surface, you do this little imaginary turnout, no turnout happens, but you feel your glutes grip, you feel your hips strengthen, you feel your legs stabilize. So please employ one of those tactics.
Wouldn't that be ideal? Oh my God, because any one of them, like if one of them is either George Mason or Georgetown, George Washington, any of the Georges. But anyway,
and then please be here for about 10 full deep breaths. Once you've got that foot, leg, hip engagement, you've got that trunk stabilized right along that midline, plumb line. Let's spend the last minute here tuning into breathing. Now as you tune into breathing sensations, let's explore like a particular type of breathing. And this is one that's always happening, but it's not always in our mindset as we're breathing. And that is breathing in such a way, feeling your breath manifest in such a way, so that it's taking up all three dimensions. So you feel your breath move from nose to pelvic floor. Feel your your breath expand from the center out. And you feel your breath fill the front and the back of the body. So we're not a sheet of paper. So we've got these dimensions. So last 5 or 6 breaths, we've got so much now to dial into. The plumb line, the engaged feet / whole network up to the hips. And last, let's say 10 breaths, let's settle in here for a moment. 3-dimensional breathing. Just like a balloon would fill. Last few breaths here, everybody. Now, if you've been working that leg process the whole time, you might feel like your legs are a bit weary, or your hips are a bit tired from all that work. It can actually be a very engaging shape here. And then you can also, and maybe I've been doing this thus far in our practice, leaning too heavily into the steady, the hold, the tight. There is an element of softness to it. But maybe it's strategic where you just soften your face, your jaw, and keep really strong where it's important to stay strong. Last couple breaths here. All right, everybody, let's loosen it up a little. Take a slightly wider stance. Oh, let go of some of that engagement. And 1 minute only. About 40 or 50 arm swings. Oh, goodness. I was hoping that would end soon. Can't hold for background noise here. The show must go on. All right, last few swings. Oh, man, that feels good every time. Okay, let's reach the arms forward like we're holding the dials. Spin. Keep the arms forward and cross. Big open, big cross. So pretty much full range on this one. Full cross, full open, full cross, full open. I'm alternating which arm goes on top each time. Just a minor little difference there that's worth noting. Oh, God. That feels tight. All right. Let's reach our arms forward and do a little drumming. All right. Awesome. And then let's reach arms out and do a little turning. Like you're turning the dials, but out to the sides instead of forward. Oh, that's a good one. Ay, ay, ay. And then release. Try a couple of little nerve glides. So what you're going to do is kind of fold your arm in and then reach your arm back. Fold, reach, flex, extend. I'm doing a little bit of movement with the head as well. So especially when I'm extending arm and wrist and fingers back, moving the head slightly away. This one is generally feels pretty nervy, like I just said. Sometimes it feels more muscular, but either way, it's generally pretty sweet move to explore. Last couple. Oh my God, that feels good. Oh, switch. So I'm flexing in, extending out. It's in the shoulder, it's in the wrist, it's in the forearm, it's even in the fingers. Oh. Last couple. Oh my God, that one's feels great. All right, let's come back to center, everybody. And do some marching. Some knee flexion. Really it's hip flexion. Your hips getting doing all the driving of the knee upward. You can add opposite arm if you want. So then it really feels like a slow motion march. Or you can pick up the pace and really get a quick march going. You can add a little skip, which is kind of cool. And definitely more active. I mean, almost by definition, when you start leaving the ground like that, you're working a little harder. You could jog through this one if you want more cardio style. You could run if you wanted, really strong anaerobic. Like so strong you can't keep up with it for very long, but you can do it for short bursts, which is great. I'm just keeping kind of a moderate pace. Last few. Now, you guys know this as the walk yourself well. I always try to give Sherry Broman a little credit for this guy. So briefly, reestablish the march. I just wanted to show a profile. And pause. So where you're pausing is literally just like mid-step. Okay? So I happen to have right now a right knee bent and a left arm. Like those two limbs are forward. Okay, then I'm going to switch. Now, try slow transitions about 10 times and have a tiny bit of bias up and forward through your trunk, as opposed to leaning back. We'll avoid that one for now. So we're slowing it down, pausing at the top, keeping good form, but biasing slightly toward forward. Now on the next one, pause even longer. And instead of switching sides, pretend like you're stepping backward and return. 10 times. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. Like a mock step. So these two limbs go backward at the same time. Now these guys are forward. 10, 9. The size of the backward step can be small if you're really struggling. The size of the backward step can be pretty big if you're feeling like you want to progress a little. You can let the back toes tap barely to the ground or avoid the ground. You want to focus on the balancing, so don't rely too much on tapping them down. Last 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. It's such a great exercise. Thanks, Sherry. Okay. Let's come back to standing. Neutral, but kind of wide. Maybe a little wider. Poquito más. Okay. Hold the hands at the hips. Similar to the last exercise, but totally different. You're going to bias slightly toward forward flexion from the hip hinge. And we're going to bend one leg slightly. Keep one leg straight. That's it. And then switch. Oh. Now, right now, these moves feel so conservative on some level. It's just a little tiny bend. I'm not too deep. My butt is not near the ground. But it actually feels really strong. I can tell this hip, this knee, ankle-wise, good alignment there at the shin. Complying with that slight bias forward from the whole torso via a little tiny hip hinge. And then the last few, maybe starting to flirt with, oh gosh, a deeper version of the pose, Cossack squat. Working on this lateral plane. Last couple. Last one per side. Oh, that is nice. All right, everybody, let's come back to center. Let's take the hands clasped together behind the back. So again, we're working with this pretty wide stance. Now, you get kind of two things happening here in your pelvis. With the arms backward, the whole structure of your hips kind of push forward a little bit, right? So if you're belly against the wall, your pubic bones would probably get there. But when you squeeze your glutes, your pelvis tips slightly backward at the rim. So both of those are fine. A little backward tilt at the rim, but also maybe the whole structure pushing slightly forward. Oh my gosh. I've got the hands clasped and my shoulders and upper trunk feel a little tight. So I'm trying to leverage a little bit with a little strength, not muscling it too hard, but trying to pull the arms back. Last couple breaths here. Oh my God, that feels so good. Oh, mercy. All right, and then release. Goodness, y'all. So, we're gonna line up along the long section of mat. Bring those hands right up into the heart. And on an inhale, expand out and up. And on an exhale, fold down and forward. On an inhale, try to find just the hip hinge. On an exhale, release it down. And then everybody find your way into plank position. Let's start with 3 strong quality push-ups. Keep your plumb line solid. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Let's shift to all 4s. Let's try about 4 or 5 cat and cow. Rounding and extending. Rounding, extending. 3 more. Last 2. On the last one, when you're in cat, then just hinge all the way down, child's pose. From child's pose, everybody, extend your arms back towards your feet. If you can, release the head down. And then about 30 seconds or so, little beats up and down with your arm. And let's release that. Then let's reach both arms forward, 1 arm at a time, but you can just swap, just alternate. Lift. Oh my God, that's hard. And lower, and then switch sides. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Oh my God. All right. Then everybody, take your hands onto your tailbone. And in one big, full, sweeping movement, you're going to come up to kneeling, reach your arms to the sky. And then come back to here. All right. So now from kneeling, I know I have the strong advantage here compared to most people working at home. A lot of padding, grass, dirt, mat, so super comfortable for the knees. So do accommodate as your knees suggest that you need accommodation. Otherwise, just get into this kneeling shape and squeeze your glutes. And then relax them. Squeeze your glutes. And it might be that same phenomenon we saw when we were standing, where the whole structure of the hips might press slightly forward toward a wall, but the actual angle of your pelvis tilts slightly backward. Last few. Okay. Then everybody, let's reach both arms up and go back to the child's pose with the hands on the tail. Now come back to reach to the sky in a kneel. And now 3 or 4 times in a row, connect that to breathing. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lift. Last one. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lift. Oh my God, that feels so nice. All right, so from here, everybody, let's come back to all fours and reach one arm out and just twist a little. And then switch. So at these first few, I'm hardly even letting my hips move. I'm really just trying to open up that mid-back, a little bit through the neck, with very little swing in the sacrum or tail. Last couple. Oh, God, that feels so good. Okay, if you're able to, come onto your fists for a moment and extend one leg backward. Just do little tiny beats up and down with the leg, couple inches. And then little tiny beats with the legs side to side. About the size of your hip socket. And then let's switch. So new leg backward, first up and down. And then a little side to side. Awesome. And then let's release, everybody. Let's come up to kneeling one more time. This time let's step the left foot forward and bring the hands behind the head and twist both left and right. Keep your butt squeezed really tight on the back leg. And then side bend, left to right. Okay, let's step back to kneeling and switch sides. So hands behind the head, twisting first, left and right. Back butt cheek super strong. And then the side flexion. Oh my God. Jeez Louise. Last one. Dog pose. Let's lift up the right leg like we did from tabletop. But bend the right knee. Now, instead of just doing one big step between the hands, which is our customary movement in a transition at this point, we're going to do 2 semi-steps, not going to land, and then 1 big step. So the steps are going to be the semi ones. It's really just ab work. Knee to like elbow, and then knee to opposite elbow. So knee to like elbow, that's a right to a right, back to one-legged dog, and then knee to opposite elbow, that's a right to a left, come back, and then the big step forward. Ja? Ja. Me from Sweden. Actually, I'm rocking the Switzerland super old school jersey. So, me from Switzerland. All right, so from here, everybody. Oh my gosh. Come all the way up into a big lunge. And let's do that little bias we worked on in a couple other shapes. A slight forward push at the trunk from the hips. Now from here, everybody, come down any amount into controlled lower lunge and come back up. And try that a few times. Low, high. Low in the lunge, high in the lunge. Low in the lunge, high in the lunge. Couple more. If you're feeling really springy, you can jump every time you come up. If you want to regress it a little bit, this is your low, this is your high. That's fine. Less range, but still a strong movement. Last one. Plank. 5 push-ups this time. So take the time you need in between these push-ups if you need time to just kind of regain your strength. Get your breath. Keep the reps high quality. And dog pose. So same thing as we did on side 1. 2 semi-steps, really the ab work, and then 1 big full step. Reach up a leg, bend a knee, like to like, oh, left to left. And then a left to a right. Yeah. And then a huge step up the center. Then we're coming up. Not leaning back, biasing slightly forward. Find a low point in the lunge. It's still a high lunge in that your back knee's off the ground, but this is higher, this is lower, all in a lunge. Woo! Regulate the low and the high according to kind of where your edge is. If you got the low to high down pretty well and want it peppier, jump. Last couple. Oh, jeez Louise. Last one. Plank pose, everybody. Come down and rest on the belly. Whew. It was overcast when I first came out. Okay. It's a little toasty. Feels good though. All right, so now we're belly down. Let's swing hands back to the tail. Lift up your chest and your head. Stabilize your hips. And with one arm, cover half of a clock face. Basically out to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. Bend. And then back through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at 6, bend. Switch arms. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Switch sides. Chest and head are lifted the whole time. Sweeping through 180 degrees. And then start adding the opposite leg. Now it's right arm and left leg are both lifted. Now it's left arm and right leg are both lifted. 2 more. One more per side. Last one. So good. All right. That's kind of an adaptation of a sequence that I learned from one of my teachers named Kraftsow, who's the primary exponent of Viniyoga here in America. Anyway, so let's get into a side plank, okay? So we're gonna try about 6 reps. Lift your hips. Square it up. Come back down. Four more. Last one. On the last one, see if you can lift your top leg a little too. And then down you come. Please switch. All right. Try to get in a half dozen good quality repetitions. 2 more. And on this last one, lift the leg as well. Oh my God. And then release that. Awesome, you guys. All right. Let's shift to all 4s one more time. Let's try down dog one more time. All right, one more lunge sequence. We kind of put a lot of little elements together here. Send the right leg back and take it in little circles.
180 sounds a little sus. Try it without hitting the air first.
And little circles the opposite direction.
Why not? That'd be big. No, I've never
Try 2 mock steps. Like elbow. opposite elbow. Try one big step to lunge. Come up from the lunge. Now, left leg back. If that's the case for you, send that left arm forward. Whatever leg is forward, send that arm back. Now, this is sort of like the walk yourself well exercise, but now in a big full lunge. Step, step, but now it's a real full step. You land, you accelerate. You land, you accelerate. 2 more. 1 more. Oh man, plank. Alternate reaching arms. Rest on the belly. Lift the chest and the head. Lift both hands. Lift both legs. All fours. Dog pose. Lift the left leg behind you to make little circular movements. Little circles the opposite way. 2 mock steps. Elbow tap. Elbow tap. 1 big step. Line up your lunge like it's the walking movement. Step. Step. 3, 2, 1. Awesome, you guys. All right. 1 minute water break. Okay. Sorry for the pause there. Let's sit. That was really good work, y'all. So, taking a wide stance, wide seat, wide stance with the legs. Twist one way. Oh my gosh, that feels good. And then twist the other. Back to side one. Oh, and last time side two. Side one more time. But this time we're going to do a little forward bend out over the wide straight leg. Just looking for your sweet spot. Letting the head hang more is going to bring on a little more of that kind of nervy sensation, which you might welcome or you might shun. Either way, just make it your own. Okay. Last one. New side. First a twist, and then a little forward bend, a little flexion. And then from here, everybody, slowly ease your way up. Last move. Let's cross the left leg over to the right a little bit. So past the midline of your body, and then take the right leg over to the left a little bit. Oh my goodness, that's a tied up move. This is a maybe. That bottom leg, swing it backward, so it looks like this. If this one just feels like contorted or forces you to round backward too much, just go back to bottom leg straight. Okay, next section. I've got this right knee up. You might have right, you might have left. Those are the only options. So we're gonna go opposite. Right knee is gonna equal left arm. Reach that arm up and then direct it down your spine. This guy, my right one, reach it out and direct it to your tailbone. So we're basically on those half clock faces we were working earlier. I mean, more or less. Now my hands are almost 2 feet apart. I can feel like one's between my shoulder blades and one's sitting on my tail. Oh man. And a winged scapula prevents me from going much deeper, lest I kind of get suboptimal movement with this shoulder. So if I'm rolling this shoulder back, this is about all I've got. Your hands might be connected. 2 more big breaths here. Oh. 1 more big breath here. Oh man, release the arms. If you've got the leg stack going, this is the sort of disco transition. You spin, and now the new leg's on top. I'll let you sort that one out. Somehow, y'all, get to the new side. Gomukhasana. New arm high. New arm low. On this side, my fingers connect. Just massive asymmetries show up. As you know, asymmetries show up for a lot of us in a lot of shapes. Couple big breaths here. Oh my God, that feels so good. And then finally untangle the arms. Not so disco, just untangle the legs. Find your way onto your backside. Bought a broken keyboard and then I bought a knee board. All right. So y'all, let's fade. Let's fade into corpse. Oh. goodness. So a very close friend of the family, he lives in Florida but grew up in Australia. He's a physio. That's what they call him in Australia. Tennis coach as well. He said he wanted his professional tennis players to basically be able to get almost as calm as you'd get in yoga meditation, Shavasana, when they're standing at the baseline in front of 12,000 people about to serve. That they need to be able to toggle back and forth from that like super ready, alert, like ready to jump, move, lunge, hit a ball 100 miles an hour, and then kind of get like calm and focused again. So if Serena can get focused before serve in front of 12,000 people, we can probably find a way to get focused, even with the few distractions that are about, for just 5 or 6 minutes. Super low pressure, but nice returns. And strangely, it's often sweeter when you put in even less effort and really just let it go. Let's try that. Siddhi. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Pema Siddhi. All is one, and the power and wisdom of the infinite lies within. All right. We're of this world, not separate. So, if you haven't already, make your way up to any comfortable seat. And I know it probably feels like it was quite a while ago, but let's close with just 4 or 5 of those 3-dimensional breaths we worked on very early on in the practice. And that's just like it sounds. It's simply feel breathing, whether it takes 2 or 20 seconds. But feel it inflate, feel it fill your torso. This way, this way, this way. And you could argue that there's a 4th dimension, time. And if you expand in these 3 dimensions, it'll probably expand a little in the 4th. And the breaths will get a bit longer, slower, deeper. Last few rounds, let's step it up to 4D breathing. Right, everybody. It is my honor to help spread and share this beautiful, amazing, life-affirming practice of yoga. And thank you all for connecting virtually over the interwebs. Namaste.